Hi there, this is Neil Salvage, and welcome to this podcast, Gassing On. Yes, we're going to gas on about the world of ground gas, we're going to meet people in the industry, we're going to visit places, and generally find out about interesting things that are happening, developing, and the changes that have gone on before us. So welcome on board, and hope you enjoy this podcast. Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Gassing On. Bit of a special edition today. It's quite a pleasure to actually have not one guest but two guests on at the same time. So we're not only breaking the rules of how many guests we've got on, but we've also got breaking the rules of technology. I've had to get over how we're going to do this. So first of all, I'd like to welcome Polly Howes of Sovereign. Welcome, Polly.
Hello, thank you for having me.
How are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming on. And we've also got Georgia Burbridge from Delta.
Hello.
Hi, Georgia. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Well, it's great. That I'm glad we've got the girls out in force tonight, and it comes off the back of we were all on a training last week. Did you enjoy your bit of training with me?
It was fantastic. It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Excellent. Well, at lunchtime we had quite an interesting conversation, and it's a topic that actually comes up on the MVQ level 2 about equality and diversity in the workplace. And it's great to have the female perspective, and there were some really interesting comments coming out, and I thought I'm going to put this back out to get it to our listeners. So Polly, being a female in construction, how's it been for you?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I found it really, really good. I was quite daunted at first, thinking, gosh, I'm going to go on a building site and people aren't going to take me seriously. And actually, I find it's the knowledge that people are interested in as opposed to the gender. So I found everybody really, really welcoming, very accepting, and haven't really felt discriminated against or anything like that, and sort of feel like I've managed to slot into what is primarily a male-dominated working environment, but it's nice that us females seem to be holding our own, and I felt very accepted, which is always nice to have.
Excellent. And Georgia, how's it been for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Polly. I think they're definitely interested in your knowledge and what you know, and I think once they realise you know what you're talking about, they're quite sort of happy. I've had a couple of challenges here and there, where it's I think they want to know that you know exactly what you're talking about. There's been a couple of things where being on site as a young lady, it shocks them a little bit, but I think once they get their head around it, they're quite happy.
Well, we are in unfortunately a very stereotypical male environment, especially when you get to sites. Yeah. Do you meet many other females out there, Polly? Are the girls becoming more prominent on sites nowadays?
Not really, to be fair. Most of our customers that I meet are all male. It's very, very unusual that I meet any females in the workplace. When I was first taken on with Sovereign, I was the first female rep that they'd taken on out on the road, but they have since added to the field staff, and we do have two females now working out in the field with Sovereign, which is really, really encouraging and nice to see. Certainly on site, talking to our customers, I find most of the time, 100% it's male dominated. So, hopefully that will change, and there'll be more females that will come into this sort of industry and take it by storm.
And for you, Georgia, how's it been on your side?
Yeah, like Polly, really. I'm the first woman of Delta Membranes in the technical department, and always trying to encourage more women into the industry, and Delta would love to have more sort of women as well in our technical ranks as well. So yes, it is mainly male dominated really, that I deal with. I mean, I deal with architects as well, and you can get some great females, and in the structural engineering side of it as well, but generally sort of site, it is generally sort of male dominated. Yeah.
Well, I encountered, and this is going back 10 years ago now, when my son was born. I found it a very kind of difficult, well, I'm not going to say difficult, but a very strange time, because I wanted to be a really active dad. I wanted to be there. He was born 7 weeks premature, And fortunately, at the time, my employer then was really great, and time was not of a problem. How does it feel for females, and especially with the childcare roles? Because it's very stereotypical that the mum looks after the child and the dad carries on working. What's your thoughts on that, Polly?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if I had been in this industry when my children were younger, I think I would have struggled quite a bit, because we do have quite stereotypical roles in the household where I'm very much, do the traditional roles that you'd expect a female to do, cooking, cleaning, and all of that jazz. And if I was trying to be in this industry when my children were much younger, I think I would have found it quite difficult. But they're both in secondary school now and quite self-sufficient, so it gives me the opportunity to kind of break free and focus on my career now. But it is difficult. It's difficult, I think, with any job, trying to balance your kind of needs with the family needs and your career. And I think being in a male-dominated environment, maybe they don't realise quite as much the pressures that women are facing in their everyday life as well as in employment. But yeah, thankfully the children are growing up, and it's making my life much easier now.
And obviously at Delta, have they got a good policy there for you guys? Because I know there's quite a few girls in the office there.
Yeah, they're really great, and we've had a bit of what we call a baby boom at Delta as well. So,
is that good? Yeah. Is that good or bad?
Yeah, well, no, it's nice to see, really. We all get together and have sort of baby showers and things like that. But obviously, there is the case of obviously losing some staff from the office, but they're coming back as well, and Delta are very flexible with sort of getting them to work whatever hours suit them, really, and sort of times and things like that. So yeah, that's a challenge that, I haven't had kids yet, but I am planning for the future, so we'll see. I think with the technical role, it is a little bit more demanding, but Delta are quite great at sort of being quite flexible, so hopefully it's not going to be an issue.
Well, I'm going to share a funny story now, because I'm really keen to go, and my son's, he's still at primary school, so I'm still dropping him off, picking him up as much as I can, and a group of mums, they're the regular mums that are at school to pick up their kids, and I'm kind of the regular dad that gets there, and there's not many of us. And it's a little bit like, I don't feel intimidated, because I quite enjoy, going up, and I have a chat with the mums. They're saying, how do you manage to get all this time off? Well, fortunately, I used to be able to do it when I worked for a company, but also now I work for myself. I've got a free rein, and my partner's got a very, successful job of her own. And I like taking that lead, and unfortunately we don't see enough dads at the school gates. That's a bit sad, isn't it? It's they're not there. So do you find the same, Polly, when you used to do the school runs?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was doing the school runs when the children were younger, it was always the mums that were there, and you kind of would look twice at the odd dad, that's nice. But what I quite like about the customers that I meet with now, because a lot of our customers are self-employed, they do actually take more of a lead role with the childcare than maybe traditionally the mums would. So quite a lot of the time when I'm arranging to meet builders on site and stuff, they are saying to me, well, can we meet after 9 o'clock because I'm going to do the school run and things like that. So it's actually really nice to see it kind of coming full circle, and actually I think more and more women are having careers in all industries, and more dads taking the opportunity to be there for the children, which, like you've explained, actually they relish that opportunity as well. So it's quite nice to see it levelling out on all aspects for men as well.
That's it. No, and I think workplaces are more, tolerant to that. And, Georgia, are you finding, acceptance on site is a much bigger thing now? They're not kind of shocked as much as they used to be?
Yeah, I definitely think it's getting better. I've been in the industry for about 7 years, and I do feel like it is improving. And to be honest, I feel like the younger generation sort of tend to be a lot more accepting, I think. And I think, you get a couple of sort of old school that maybe, you need to prove yourself a little bit. But I do feel like it is improving, and that I don't have to prove myself as much as perhaps I used to.
Yeah, well, you said you had a phone call come in once, and somebody said that you introduce yourself and in your technical role, and they said, "Oh no, I don't want to speak to you. I want to speak to somebody who knows what they're doing." That's quite demoralizing.
That wasn't just the one time. That was a little bit of a common occurrence at one point, but I think once they get to know you, and I've had people come into the office before as well in person, and they were directed towards towards me, and it was a bit like, oh, does she know what she's talking about? But after sitting down with me and me discussing their project with them, they started to get more comfortable with me, and then once they came into the office, they would head directly to me, and not to the other technical guys. So we sort of started to build a bit of a relationship, that they were comfortable with me, and I do feel like that happens less and less these days.
Yeah, and one dilemma I often find is, I stand in front of a lot of learners in a classroom trying to share the knowledge, and you have to be so sensitive now. Somebody commented a few weeks ago on a training, and they put in the feedback, and it's always nice to get feedback from the learners, to say it's a shame this course is run by a middle-aged white male. They didn't mention me being bald, but I can handle that. That's not a problem. But I thought that was one comment, like it's always the stereotypical people out there, and it was, I wouldn't say demoralizing, but it would be great to see more, more people taking up the mantra of doing some, maybe the more technical roles. And I know there's certainly some schemes out there, and trying to encourage youngsters, especially, to come into construction. And I think you ladies are excellent role models to try and share that. And hopefully listeners that are coming on today will use that to their advantage and play it to potential learners, Polly, do you do anything to try and get more girls involved?
Yeah, definitely. We do quite a lot of road shows and technical demonstrations within the builders merchants, and quite often there is quite a few of the counter staff that are younger females, working in that environment, but I think they don't necessarily realise that they could go further in it, and they almost see it like a ceiling, like, oh, it's no different to working in builders merchants than if they were working in a supermarket or something like that. They don't actually realise that actually if they embrace that industry and wanted to be part of it, they can go further. So sometimes talking to those that are just sort of working part-time in the builders merchants and stuff, and saying, well, no, there's opportunities out there, you don't need to see as a ceiling, is really important. So yeah, I've really enjoyed that side of things, and my daughter's now turning 16. She's in her last year at school, and again we're going to colleges and we're talking about options and things like that, and it was actually quite encouraging to see quite a few of the girls sat in the construction section and talking to the college about that. So hopefully people just seeing that it is open for everybody, and that there isn't you don't have to fit a stereotype to do any job, construction or otherwise.
Excellent. And I know, Georgia, you've been active with a scheme. It's called, is it WOW? Is it your scheme?
WOW, yeah.
Give WOW a plug, please do.
Yeah, WOW. So I co-founded Women of Waterproofing, and it's basically, getting the ladies in the industry. Polly's on WOW as well, just getting us all together so that we can network and talk about women in the industry and also in construction. Sort of side of it. But yeah, I just want to encourage more ladies into it as well, because I think women in construction, they've got a great established sort of group, and construction's quite a broad industry, and we're just sort of a small sector of it, which is the waterproofing sector. And I was finding, as we said, it's very male dominated, and I just wanted to get sort of us girls together really, so that we could talk about our experiences and sort of just boost us up a little bit. So that's been really great. The networking events that we've had so far have been really great fun, and now that hopefully COVID is sort of settling down a little bit, we'd like to do some more face-to-face networking.
That's brilliant. Well, ladies, I normally try and keep these to about 10 minutes, and because there's two of you, I've let it overrun by about 4 minutes. So I think we've done really well this evening. Really thank you, Polly and Georgia, for your time this evening. Great to have you on. And we will, I'm going to be putting up a plug for your WOW group, Georgia, and any listeners out there, please get in touch. I'm sure you'll take the call, won't you, Georgia or Polly?
Yeah, we'd love it. Absolutely love it. Yes, I'd love more ladies to come on board, get involved with the WOW, and if they've got any questions about the industry, I'm sure me and Polly are more than happy to answer any questions that they may have. And yeah, just getting more women involved would be brilliant.
Lovely. Well, Polly, Georgia, thank you very much for your time. Great to have you on board.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So thanks for joining us and look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye now.